Financial projections, duties of a project manager. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about how you can get your team involved in the financial projections and really owning it. So how do you get what you need from an information standpoint? What do you need to look at? Like, what is the information? And when, meaning how often do you need to review it? These are all things that we're going to cover right now. So I'm passionate about this topic. Let me open this up with a little bit of a story. In our organization at LeanTact, and we have about 47 people now. I never thought we would grow to be that big and to be providing that much value to the industry, but nonetheless, that's where we are, and we work with hundreds and hundreds of projects. It's absolutely fantastic. And we have this interesting phenomenon that happens where this is our expenses. We typically do about $10,000 to $20,000 more per month, which is not phenomenal, meaning like this business really is a service and a sacrifice. But 2 or 3 months out, it starts to dive, and we've got to always be bridging that gap. And our backlog is typically, at least for 75% of our expenses, anywhere from 5 to 10 months out. But for at least $60,000 to $90,000, it's a 3-month backlog. It's not very much, so we constantly have to be selling. And it's always been on Kevin or Kate or me to focus on these things. And so recently, Carol, the director of operations, who is fantastic, we have paired her with Ryan, our CFO, and asked, hey, can you constantly have financial projections and then constantly align any of our sales and marketing folks to bridge that gap with a plan? And one of the things that we've really noticed is that the team is more proactive, more accountable, and things are going better because everybody can see them. What you'll find on your job is the same thing happens, that when you start to inform your PEs, FEs, superintendents, and other people on the team where we are headed financially, then there will be more buy-in, and you'll find the same things. There's more proactiveness, there's more accountability. It's absolutely fantastic. Actually, here's 2 key things. Number 1, you've got to get your financial projections in a format where people can see it. Number 2, you have got to make sure that you are managing your finances and looking at the numbers and playing that game on a weekly and at least on a monthly basis so that you can be successful and make key decisions with the team real time. And when I say real time, meaning that week or the week of the month of, right? So that's what you're going to have to do. So it will be on you a bit to say, superintendent, we need you in this meeting. Hey, corporate and the CFO for your company, I need these numbers reported in this way, and to bring this group together so that you can manage your financial projections. So we have covered briefly financial projections in another video, but that's not going to be anything like what you're going to hear right now. We're going to talk specifically about your role. So let me just say this. Oh my gosh, this is so good. So most of the time, project managers will simply do a job cost report, export or printout, and they'll start looking at all the different budget categories. And it's like, okay, let's look at power, let's look at internet, let's look at meals, right? Let's look at travel. And you think that you can go ahead and manage this budget by reduction, but you can't. That is not the way to do it. Now, hold on one second. I will say, when you take business training, they will distinguish between cutting expenses and making money. And they will say, okay, you save $1, you just earned $1. But if you go do work and you want to earn $1, you've got to do $10 worth of work. So it's much easier to save money than to make money technically. But I'll tell you, just like with most other things, construction is a bit different. Here's why. Because there's a difference between an investment and an expense. You can cut expenses all day long, but do not cut investments. Investments are proactive things like building information modeling, planning, getting out ahead, simulation, setting up means and methods in a better way to really save money in the long term, right? So you can cut expenses, but don't cut investments. And so the habit that I want you to get away from is don't just print out the job cost report or whatever it is that you call it and start looking at numbers and slashing. Understand first what is an expense and what is an investment, and then don't just skip the numbers for the budget for the trade partners. There's so much more to it. It's not just your GCs and your GRs plus your subcontracts. You have labor gains. You have labor gains with the staff. You have possible gains on your insurance. You have possible gains from rentals. And especially if you have a tower crane or a hoist that your company owns. You have contingency buckets. You have all of these different numbers that you need to dive into to manage that will help you to have an overall perspective. So take this myopic cut expenses perspective and open it up to a strategy perspective, which includes investment. So as a part of what you can be managing on the project, I want to start with your subcontract amount. So you have, as a part of your budget, the money allocated for your subcontracts for your buyout, and then you have buyout contingency. So you will need to know the total dollars, where that is projected, and how much contingency that you have as you're buying out trades. And you'll want to make sure that you always know the percentage of buyout remaining and the percentage of buyout contingency remaining so that you can parallel those and not ever run out of money. The other thing that you need to know is potential exposures, potential change orders, and potential risks. So those will come out of, and we're not going to take it out of fee. And if this is a GMP, a guaranteed maximum price, you're probably not going to ask the owner for more money. So you have contingency buckets, will be your owner and design contingency, and then your contractor contingency. All of that needs to be monitored. So again, if you are constantly tracking your potential exposures from your potential change orders and your risk and opportunity register, and you're like, let's say you have $1.3 million and you are already projecting 900,000 of that to be gone, you're like, we're at the beginning of the project, that's not good. You have to understand the ratio of how much contingency you have left and how much exposures you have at what time in the project, because if you're at the beginning and you've spent most of your money, that is not good. There will be what they call black swans in the book, Never Split the Difference. Black swans are these big risks or these big impacts to the projects. There will be those things in the middle third and last third of the project that you need to cover. The bottom line with that is you need to make sure that all of your risks are covered and that you can continually cover them, because there's only a couple of places to put risk. You can either plan it around it and remove the risk. You can cover it with contingency, or you can absorb it at a fee, which ain't going to happen, but wishful thinking is not a strategy. And then as I continue, I do want to say you need to know the following things in addition to those main buckets: your fee, your labor gains, your gains on insurance, your gains for rental, any allowance categories that might affect your overall budget and contingency, your general conditions, and your general requirements. If you know those in addition to your overall budget for your subcontracts and your contingency buckets, you now have an overall financial picture that you can do something with. So let me make this clear. It is not just, hey, this is the main portion of our budget is what we're going to make. No, it's all of those numbers that I just told you put together. So what you need to do, and this is great, this is so good. You need to have a summary, if corporate doesn't already provide it, that summarizes all of it and allows you strategically to know what your current gross profit is, and then obviously your net profit, and what the targets are for the company. Right, when I was at DPR, they always said 642, 642. 6% gross profit, and then the 4 and 2 was how your general and administrative costs were basically balanced with any of the profit after bonuses. And so we knew on every job we needed to make 6%, and it was pretty well known. Like, they advertised it. There's no secret for me saying that. And so, like, if you know your company's is 642 or 624 or whatever it is, you know, for your specific company, know what your gross profit target is and how that number affects the overall success of your business, and form a strategy that will enable you to really meet that target. So what I'm saying by this, and I've given these examples before in a podcast, but let me just say it on this video, that, like, let's say for instance you were like, yeah, we need to reduce our staff size. Well, if it's a GMP and it's not a shared savings for any money that is given back, and you literally have those positions paid for, and your budget is doing well, and you need and can pay for 2 more people on your staff, and obviously you would get the labor gains on those, why are you not doing it? That's another $180,000. And if you need a crane and you could keep that tower crane, or you could bring back another mobile crane, and they're pretty similar, right? Why not keep that tower crane that you own and get that additional $60,000, because you're going to need a crane anyway, and it's a win-win for you and the owner. So be thinking about these things. Or one more example, like let's say you have a lump sum self-perform contract and you're coding everything to that for general cleanup, and you have in your overall budget a code for cleanup outside of your self-perform, and you're irresponsibly coding everything to your lump sum contract. You're reducing your profit over here while losing money over here on your overall budget because there's no shared savings. So you've got to look at all of these numbers together and see how they aggregate to total your gross profit at the end of the day. And so by the way, this is just like I've said before, like Monopoly. You've got to know where you're going, what you're going to pay for, what your risks are, and you got to see how much money you have in the bank. If you don't have a reporting system that does that, get it, because you've got to be able to play this game. And so I'm going to give you a formatted Canva graphic for this, and I want you to know that we can help you with this. We provide assistant PM services if you need help on your project, where we can help you track this and also form fantastic financial strategies. At the end of the day, I hope you're able to implement this and that you love this video. On we go.